Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. From heavy smoker to fit guy. What's that about? Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Perry Tinsley here, creator of the Power Blast podcast, owner of PutYourselfFirst.com, and I'm a health and fitness coach that's helped lots of people, thousands of people get healthy and fit and just improve their lifestyle, just to make things a little bit happier, a little bit fitter, a little bit healthier. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about smoking, of all things, but actually it's going to be more than smoking, because a lot of you out there probably don't smoke, or maybe if you did, it was a long, long time ago. But what happened with me, I came across a photo. As I'm recording this, is Thursday, and a lot of people do their little pictures of Throwback Thursday. And a picture that came up to me was one where, I was in party mode. I was having a good time, and a lot of my life revolved around cigarettes. Now, when I was smoking, It was a time where the laws of smoking indoors and outdoors were just starting to change. I know a lot of places now, you can't even light up anywhere near a public place. But I was in college when I first started, and I think somebody gave me some maybe a cigar or something like that. You're in college, you're doing lots of, you're hanging out with a different group of people, and, cigars, let's all have cigars and a beer or something like that. So that turned into, hey, try these, I think it was clove cigarettes. They were kind of a little bit of a different taste to them. As a matter of fact, to this day, I can't stand clove. That's kind of wild. But, as I went along, and I'm glad, so grateful that you're listening to my journey here, because I do have a point on that transition, that decision of when you're moving from one addiction into something that's going to improve your life to be better. So along my journey, I found myself smoking, and then at the time I was like menthol cigarettes. It was cigarettes that had kind of a flavor to them. I guess I was like a smoking wuss, so to speak. And so that literally, get this. Here's the goofiness of the mindset as I'm smoking. I'm trying to keep it from my parents or anything like that. I never wanted them to find out. Well, eventually they did. And then we had that, awkward conversation. I just didn't want to disappoint them. But I kept smoking. They said just not in the house. And so I go out in the garage, or, I found myself in below zero temperatures going out just to have a cigarette. But that addiction kept going. Now, I learned along the way that supposedly menthol cigarettes, the menthol crystallizes in your lungs. So I switched to a more healthier cigarette. Yeah, a healthier cigarette. I think it was Marlboro Lights at the time, without the menthol. And there was my addiction for many, many years. Probably smoked for almost 20 years. And so for me to be able to share this, you're kind of getting vulnerable about, a time in your life that maybe you're not the most proud of. But to tell you the truth, I loved smoking. I loved the behavior. I loved the craving. I was addicted. It was a major addiction to nicotine. And it didn't seem like there was any way out. So as time progressed, breathing became more and more challenging. And so the only thing I knew out there that could help with breathing, because there were commercials about it, was this stuff called Primatene Mist. And you could go out to any grocery store or pharmacy and get Primatene Mist and squirt it into your lungs, and it would hopefully open up your bronchial passages, and everything was fine. Well, that enabled me to keep smoking. Eventually, that got to a point where I was buying the large version of Primatene Mist and going through one a week just so I could keep smoking. You can kind of see the writing on the wall here. So along the way, there were people that were saying, you know what, this is killing you. A lot of my friends did not smoke. I had a bank of friends that did. I also did bartending, so the people in the bar, smoked. I know nowadays that doesn't happen, but I wanted to quit, but really never had that drive. I never did committed. And so the things that I tried over time, I would get to those New Year's resolutions or whatever. I try hypnosis. I went to a hypnosis session, quit for about a year maybe, bought the cassette tapes and tried them over and over and over, but went back to smoking. Any sort of traumatic or dramatic overcoming obstacle that happened in my life, that was my knee-jerk reaction, was to jump back into this. So I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that with any other addictions that you maybe have come across. Maybe you don't even realize they're an addiction. It's just that one thing that you cling to, that vice that you have when things tend to spiral sideways, or that thing that's going to be your little comfort, your safety blanket. Well, I tried the hypnosis. I tried the Nicorette gum. I tried the little tablets. I tried going cold turkey. And, I would even just do this. I'm going to do it this time. And it just didn't happen. So I got to a point where I really had to make a decision. And I came across and when it came to making a decision, I was really fearful that one day I was going to go to my doctor and he was going to say the C word. That you've got cancer, you're pre-cancer, or it almost seemed like I kept smoking until I was going to be given that ultimatum. I think people face that all the time, waiting until the last minute, or sometimes waiting until it is too late to take action. When you can be proactive, we know what to do, we know what we want to do, but then there's that little comfort thing, right? So I decided to try the patch, and that's what I did. I know you can buy them, I think, at grocery stores now, whatever, but I had to get a prescription for mine, and I had to do a little counseling, and there was a tiered program that went along with it. But still, it was a weird phase in my life to try to weed out nicotine. I mean, when you're trying to get rid of an addiction, your brain is just going just totally crazy. Now, I just got done chatting with my buddy Chris Lutzik, and I was asking him about, I know you quit, dude. What did you do to quit? Interesting enough, he read a book, and he was just, he said he sat down one day, he just couldn't breathe. That I can relate to that, and he just said, you know what, I can't breathe, and I'm spending money on killing myself. And you know what? I think we do a lot of that. Maybe a lot of people probably do that. Maybe it's not always nicotine. Maybe it's food, sugar, carbs, dairy, soda, foods that are processed, laziness, skepticism, drugs, alcohol. There's a lot of things that we kind of cling to that are really just kind of killing ourselves, chipping away at becoming better. The book he read was The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr. He said he'd recommend it to anybody. I didn't read that one, but it was how and when and why you smoke is what he said was in the book. And then when you're at the end of the book, you're putting out your last cigarette. So it allows you to smoke all the way through the book as you're reading it, etc. Which brought up, as I was discussing this topic with him, I'm thinking, you really need to look at your why. Your why for why you're wanting to change or do something. At the beginning of the year, everybody's wanting to do this fitness New Year's resolution. They're going to lose whatever and stuff like that. And I applaud them, but it really boils down to, why do you want to do that? Is it just something you just made up in your head, or is this just something that they're serious that this has to change? Excuse me. Interesting. I would cough there. Excuse me. I think the interesting thing is, for me, it became breathing. Breathing became important. I was killing myself trying to breathe. As a matter of fact, when I was coming off that, I got done with the smoking, and I went in and I thought I had some allergies. The allergist said, well, we got to get rid of your asthma first. I'm like, I don't have asthma. She goes, oh, yes, you do, really bad. And then I told her the things I'd been doing. She goes, "Oh, that Primatine Mist, that was probably worse for your lungs than the smoking." Wow, eye opener. So, but I think you really need to create. You need to, you need your why. Why is it wanting to do this? And it's got to be a deep why. It's not going to be like, oh, I just need to lose 20 pounds just to feel a little healthier, just to be a little fitter. That's not going to hold water when life takes you sideways and you have some dramatic news and there's cheesecake at the office or donuts or whatever. So you need to have that why. You need to kind of create your own ultimatum and just go for it. One day at a time. That's the way I did it with smoking. It had to be one day at a time, and every day was a challenge. I just wanted to improve just a little bit, better than the day before. And that's the way I kind of treat my fitness now. My buddy Chris, now this is impressive. He quit smoking in July of 2012, and he started Insanity. I think that's an insane decision because that takes a lot of lung capacity. But he finished the program in October, and he got the T-shirt from it. So I think I applaud you, Chris. That's serious commitment there. But it does take commitment and discipline to get anything you want. To get anything that you want, you need discipline. Discipline is power. Without discipline, it's really too easy to go back into self-indulgence, seek gratification. Discipline is needed because you can't control the mind without it. And I've heard a lot of people say, "I have no discipline," but really you do. You are very disciplined in many areas of your life. You just maybe need practice being disciplined in this other area, and you've got to make that commitment. Sometimes just drawing a line in the sand. Hopefully it's not an ultimatum of bad news from your doctor, but I would say you know what I mean. The discipline, it could be for whatever. I mean, like better life, a healthier life, a fitter life, family life. Maybe it's a spiritual life for you. Maybe it's financial life. And if you don't have some of those things, you're not sure what I'm talking about at the moment. But if that's something that you aspire to, acquire or attain or have, it's going to take discipline. And so you've got, think about what you want to get better at. What is it that you want to improve? And more importantly, why? That's the tough one, is why. When you get to that part, and it makes you emotional. It might even make you tear up. Some people call it the why that makes you cry. While I wasn't crying about breathing, I felt very awful, very sluggish. A path that I did not want to go down and continue to go down, but I know a lot of people do. If it's so that's a smoking part. When you're kind of wondering, well, how did you get to the fitness part? I switched one vice for another. I got rid of the smoking, and then I started eating. And I know that's a fear of a lot of people, and that's why I like to coach a lot of people. I'm like, okay, you're going to learn from my mistakes. You're going to learn from what I did. So if I were to do it all over again, knowing what I know now, I would have done quitting the smoking. Then I would have just started some activity. Now, I started doing some bicycling at the time, and I wish I would have continued that. I wish I would have had one of our fitness programs to continue at the time. They didn't exist, and I think I was just kind of dabbling a little bit exercise at the gym every once in a while, but I never had a plan. But from getting from smoking guy to fit guy, from heavy smoker to fit guy, that took another reason why. The gut was getting big. The beers were a lot. The Mountain Dew was heavy. The pizza, the burgers, the fast food, the convenience food, the going into cafeteria. Literally, before I was going to go play volleyball, that was my exercise. Before I was going to go play volleyball, I would go down to the school cafeteria, go to the vending machine, and buy 3 packages, 3 of Little Debbie snack cakes. Maybe some of you know them. I would get the little Swiss chocolate roll or whatever it was, and I would eat all 3 packages. That's 6 of those things, and I'd feel so sluggish, so awful, So terrible that what I was doing was I went from smoking into eating. I went into sugar. I went into comfort food. I went to fatness. And then I went on a path, instead of lung cancer, it was going into diabetes. So you can kind of see the path there. But I drew another line in the sand. I made that commitment. You know what? I said, you know what? I'm going to stop this. I'm going to commit for 90 days and just see if this thing can work. I'm going to eat relatively healthy. I followed kind of like a little eating plan. And I chose foods that were healthier. I gave up the beer. I gave up the pizza, well, from time to time, but it wasn't like a daily thing. And I just committed to working out every day for 90 days just to see what happened. And oh my gosh, it worked. I followed a plan. So that's if your goal is, maybe it's not to quit smoking, but whatever your vice is, whatever your comfort is, whatever is holding you back, if that's what you're wanting to get done, I will help you out. I mean, to help you create a plan. We have a group of people that get together online, and it's kind of virtual group, but people become friends, like family there. And we motivate, support, and lift each other up as we check in with our health and nutrition each day, and our fitness, the workouts that we're doing. And I can help you come up with a plan for that can help you, whatever the goal is that you want to achieve. But I can tell you what, if you and I are talking one-on-one, we are actually going to talk about why you want to accomplish that. It can't be just some sort of shallow vanity thing, because you won't stick with it. Okay? This is going to be a lifetime thing. That's what I discovered. You are going to benefit from my missteps and my sidesteps over the years. Okay? So it's all about growing. It's all about getting better. And so let me ask you, are you growing each day? I don't mean in size. I mean just personally. Are you becoming better? It takes discipline and constant, never-ending improvement. Never-ending. That means there's always work to do. Don't ever get comfortable. You got to make a decision, have a reason why, and go for it. That's all I have for this week. I know I was on a soapbox and sharing a story there with you, but I so appreciate you for sticking in there and listening. I hope this podcast helped you. And hey, if you know of someone who could benefit, please pass it on. And here's another thing. That this may help you if you're looking in the fitness arena, or just even to make your day, just to empower your day more consistently. You can download my free Fit Start guide at myfitstart.com. It's all yours. You can share it with anybody, and hopefully that can benefit you to kickstart your day in just an amazing way. I so appreciate you for subscribing and sharing this show. And please go into your podcast app, search for Power Blast Podcast, or if you've already subscribed, and go over to the review and rating area, and please give an honest review and rating. And if you're using iTunes, you can do the same thing there. I really, really appreciate it, and this will help a lot more people have this show reach them and provide value. You absolutely rock, my friend. Remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.